This is RTV6 News at 5, working for you.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Rafael Sanchez in for Mark Mullins.
First at 5, a violent weekend prompting church leaders to act.
People are being urged to drop their guns and talk about their problems. RTV6's Stephanie Wade highlights this new initiative aimed at reducing gun violence.
After several people were shot this weekend, 2 stabbed, the faith-based community is partnering with 211 Connect to help. They want to take the load off of 911 and IMPD so they can focus on crime while 211 connects people with the services they need.
It continues to happen. Most of it is, in response. It's conflict issues that occur and somebody reaches for a gun or somebody reaches for a knife and stabs them. Nobody's thinking about, maybe I need to talk it out and not shoot it out.
That's the sermon this group of church leaders are preaching here today at Tarkington Park on the north side. After another violent weekend in the city of Indianapolis, they're urging people to use words instead of weapons. And if you need someone to talk to, there is help by calling 211.
Anything from basic needs, food, housing, utilities, to crisis services, suicide, domestic abuse, child abuse, and then everything in between. You need a job, you want to volunteer, you call us first, and then we can get you to the resources that you need.
I don't think people know that.
I don't think they do either.
Connect to Help 211 takes the load off of 911 operators and IMPD so they can focus on crime. Plus, it eliminates the fear factor for people who are perhaps apprehensive to get police involved.
If we all put together as a community, as a neighborhood, a lot of this don't have to happen.
What people in the community think about this resource and the recent violence in our city. Ahead on the news at 6. Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Stephanie, we'll see you at 6 o'clock. Your neighborhood, as you know, is your home. And if you feel like there's a safety issue and that no one is addressing that issue, let us know. Email us at workingforyou@rtv6.com.
And today, IMPD announced some changes to the staff on the front lines of keeping Indianapolis safe. 24-year veteran of IMPD and recent graduate of the FBI National Academy, Craig McCart, has been appointed as the Deputy Chief of the Criminal Investigations Division. Metro Police say McCart brings experience in violent crime investigations and has connections to neighborhoods affected by violence, even supervising the investigative unit that IMPD says reduced pharmacy robberies in Marion County.
I've spent the majority of my career in investigations, and I've been able to work in several different areas of investigations. So that really helps me understand, I think, what the detectives are going through, what they're working, the work that they're doing, and ways that we can improve that work.
Along with McCart, Jerry Leary has been appointed commander of the East District, and Karen Arnett, who has served with IMPD for more than 3 decades, will move to the East District as the new day shift captain. IMPD says these new leaders are key to the city's summer violence prevention efforts.
And now at 5, we need to focus on your Storm Team 6 forecast. What a beautiful evening in central Indiana. There on the left side of your screen, you can see Drone Camp 6 over Highland Park on the city's east side. What a view there. On the right-hand side, equally as great, another beautiful look at Indianapolis tonight. Kevin Gregory, the humidity is down. Thank you.
That's the key. The humidity's down, and I'll add to that, briefly down. Another 24 hours, then we're back at it Wednesday. But we live in the moment, don't we?
We do.
Lots of sunshine. Temperatures comfortable. They're at 85. Even though we'll be pushing 90 tomorrow, still with the humidity under control, makes all the difference in the world. Have you noticed? Sun is setting earlier now. It was 9:17 at its latest. 9:15 is when the sun is setting. Temperatures to the north. Marion at 82, 2 degrees warmer right in the heart of Howard County and Kokomo. Frankfort's at 84 as well. There's an 86 down in Bedford. Warmest spot right now, Greensburg at 87. Through the evening hours, comfortable is the word. Temperatures, they'll drop into the 70s by 10 o'clock tonight, and I think some outlying areas, Indy at 61, but outlying areas in the 50s for the first time in over 2 weeks, 17 days. Tomorrow morning, 63 is where we'll start, but we'll quickly warm up. Lots of sunshine, 81 degrees, and then in the afternoon hours tomorrow, 88 the magic number. We'll talk about the changes for Wednesday coming up.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. For more than a century, the Church of the Holy Cross has been a fixture just east of downtown. But tonight, it's being taken apart, and it could soon be just a memory. So what's happening to all the parts, including the beautiful stained glass windows? RTV6's Cameron Riddle shows us one neighborhood's fight to keep that church intact. RTV6's Cameron Riddle shows us this, and Cameron joins us now.
Hi, good evening, Amanda. Yeah, we're live here tonight outside of the church that has been here for more than 100 years. And the people who live in this neighborhood named after the church say it is the centerpiece of the area. But today, crews spent the day taking out those historic, beautiful stained glass windows. And the people who love this church say seeing pieces of it taken away is like losing a piece of history. John Heidelberg is one of those people. His family has lived in this neighborhood for 75 years, right across from the church. He says in that time, his family has held weddings, funerals, and baptisms in the church he thought would be around forever. Since the church closed a few years ago, it started to come apart in literal pieces. He says now that the church is losing its iconic windows, he doesn't know if he can look at the building the same.
I don't know what it's going to be like to look out my front door and not see the church, if they're going to tear it down or whatever. You know, it's a strange thing.
Well, this church is considered an Indiana landmark and is on the state's 10 most endangered landmarks list. What is the future for this church? We'll tell you what the hope is coming up tonight on the news at 6. Live in Indianapolis, I'm Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
The federal trial of accused Indianapolis drug kingpin Richard Grundy and 4 other men is now underway. Today, jurors were picked in U.S. District Court for a trial that could last as long as 6 weeks. Grundy was one of more than 20 people indicted and arrested in late 2017 on various federal drug charges, and most have pleaded guilty. Now, Grundy is charged with numerous crimes, including conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine, possession of methamphetamine, and conspiracy to launder money. He allegedly led a drug operation that sold cocaine, methamphetamine, marijuana, and heroin. The drugs were imported from out of state and sold in Indiana.
In Democracy 2019 coverage, in this year's race to be the next mayor of Indianapolis, the 2 main candidates are a Democrat and a Republican. But an independent candidate is also trying to get on that ballot. John Schmitz needs a little more than 6,100 signatures from registered Marion County voters to be allowed on this ballot this November. He's presented more than 8,000 to the county, but many of them have been thrown out due to the signee not being registered or the address on the form does not match their registration address. Schmitz calls it an unwinnable situation because he believes some signatures are being wrongly thrown out.
I'm frustrated, but I have a team of volunteers that are not paid, that I feel like I'm letting down because of this system that I really have no control over.
The column headings. Schmitz says despite so many signatures being deemed not qualified, he should still have enough to get on the ballot in November. He is hosting a People Not Politics rally tonight at 6 at the City County building to discuss this issue. Well, the Pacers made big changes to their roster during last week's free agency period.
And today the team welcomed one of the new faces to Indianapolis, our Brad Brown, here in style with a look at that first introduction. Good afternoon, Brad.
Hi, Amanda and Raphael, and good afternoon, everyone. There were, of course, some huge names making huge moves during last week's NBA free agency. Meanwhile, the Pacers quietly went about their business and added what could be 3 very key players for the upcoming season. Today, the team officially welcoming guard Malcolm Brogdon to Indianapolis. He's made quite an impact already in just 3 seasons in the league. Was a second-round draft pick by the Bucks in 2017 and named NBA Rookie of the Year. Better than 40% shooting from three-point range, a 93% free throw shooter last season. And he was an All-American, ACC Player of the Year his senior season in 2016 for the University of Virginia. Brogdon will wear jersey number 7 with the Pacers.
My agents had wanted me to go to Indiana coming out of the draft. That was one of the top teams for me in terms of fit, style of play, the coach, the front office, everything for me fit with this organization. And while it didn't happen, a few years later down the road, it's happened, and I couldn't be happier. This, I think, is the best fit for me.
On Sunday, it was TJ Warren and Jeremy Lamb getting their Indy intros from the Pacers. We will bring you some of their comments coming up on the news at 6. And I'll have more on all of the Pacers additions and what this means for the 1920 season coming up tonight at 11. The Summer League team is just getting ready to start its second game out in Las Vegas as well. We'll have an update for that coming up for you on the news at 6. See you then.
Thank you, Brad. We'll see you then. Still ahead at 5:30 on RTV6, our Scripps team is diving into new research about retirement and how you can make the most of working longer than you originally planned. That's in a full report coming up on the Now Indy.
Next on the news at 5, a mother concerned about pacifiers becoming dirty and maybe unhealthy for babies to use. Comes up with $1 million idea, her creation, and how this could benefit the little one in your life. But first, let's check in with Kevin.
It's all sunshine now, but when will thunderstorms return? We'll talk about the potential for Wednesday coming up.
Welcome back to the news at 5 on RTV6. Legislation to create a permanent program for all injured veterans to have access to in vitro fertilization benefits is getting pushed back from anti-abortion forces. Since 2012, congressional Democrats have pushed for legislation permanently extending in vitro fertilization benefits to veterans whose service-connected injuries leave them unable to conceive children otherwise. Those bills have stalled in favor of a temporary program that must be reauthorized every year. The current benefit covers only straight married couples who are able to produce their own sperm and eggs. Injured veterans' families contend using in vitro to start a family is pro-life.
Hiring Hoosiers, an RTV6 initiative to help connect you with jobs across our entire state. And now we're learning more than 24 jobs are coming to Hancock County. Today, Yamaha Marine Precision Propellers broke ground on a new 54,000 square foot facility in Greenfield. The company's expansion is supposed to add 30 new jobs. Yamaha says once the new facility is complete, it will have the necessary infrastructure and workforce to increase annual propeller production from 60,000 to over 100,000. Construction in Greenfield is supposed to be done by mid-2020. Breakthrough research suggesting that a mouse's brain could help people suffering from eating disorders. So working for you, we show you how right now. See those bright green dots on the screen? You see those? Those are neurons being fired inside of a mouse's brain. New research at the University of Arizona tries to determine what region of the brain makes someone hungry. This study aims to help patients who are having an eating disorder by creating a new drug to help fight that disorder without affecting their mental health.
Interested in understanding how the feeding behavior and emotion behavior like anxiety interact with each other.
Wow, science in the 21st century. The next steps are to see if the region in a mouse's brain is similar to that in a human brain. Now, by controlling this part of the brain, researchers are able to make specific drugs to help those struggling with eating disorders. Right now, drugs helping treat these disorders are affecting people's mental health, making them anxious and sometimes even depressed. Scientists say they want the research to change all of that.
If you are a new or expecting mom or parent, you know about the struggle to keep everything clean and sanitized for a newborn, especially those pacifiers. Florida mother Jennifer Melvin said her personal experience led her to the path of innovation to create the Keepsy, which is a pacifier cover. When her daughter was born 6 years ago, she started working on this project.
I didn't think about it or anything like this until my daughter was born. She was in the NICU, and they emphasize, like really hone into you that everything needs to be as sanitized as possible.
Melvin says the Keepsy cover is supposed to keep your child's pacifier clean. For example, the cover can protect the pacifier from coming into contact with dirty surfaces and even pet smells. The goal is to make sure newborns are even more protected. Melvin says the Keepsy is the only product out there that allows for a pacifier clip that fits the Wubbanub pacifier, which all moms seem to know about.
A new idea born every minute. And don't forget that Shark Tank will be here next Tuesday in Indianapolis. So if you have a great idea like the Keepsy, don't copy the Keepsy, but bring your own idea. We want to see it next week, Shark Tank.
One of my favorite memories with the kids, we would have on the counter 5 or 6, clean pacifiers. Okay. So they would drop one somewhere, and you'd see the little hand come up there, grab a new one, and off they go.
Now the question for the second one, your daughter.
Oh yeah.
Did you care? I mean, the first one we were neurotic.
Oh yeah, we kept the whole fleet there.
Did you?
Yeah,
The second one we said
used to.
Yeah, just. All right. How's that forecast?
You let us know later if we're doing all right on fatherhood. 70, that's the temperature this morning. I just want to show you how it becomes far more comfortable, at least briefly. These overnight lows will be in the 50s to low 60s tonight. We're at 85 right now. 85 in Bloomington, pretty consistent everywhere. Lots of sunshine. The key, I think, is the north wind, and generally around 10 miles per hour, but that's the direction. Winds of change. Hasn't lowered the temperature all that much, but it has lowered the humidity noticeably. That will last through tomorrow. Say hello to Leo, and if you look closely, I see some teeth on the bottom row there, but I don't think he's snarling at all. I think he is smiling. Leo, good to have you on the show. Happy to take you for a walk. Temperatures in the 80s till after sunset. Then we'll start to cool off. Tina Stamper sent in the picture. You can send in your dog's photo too at kevin.gregory@wrtv.com, and I'll take your dog for a walk. How about that? Temperature tomorrow morning, 61 in the Indy, 50s in the outlying areas. Temperature tomorrow, upper 80s without much humidity. Wednesday, almost 90 with a lot of humidity back in the picture. That will also be our next best chance for any showers or thunderstorms. Thursday and Friday, low to mid 80s. Shopping around tomorrow, 85 is our average high temperature. We'll be close to that in most cases, a few degrees above. Humidity lower, and the wind is light out of the east. Any threat for thunderstorms Wednesday, I think, comes later in the day. Slight risk for northwest Indiana that we have a few strong storms. Question is, and typically in these situations, they kind of slow down the arrival. Right now, it's after 7 o'clock before entering northwest Indiana. 11 o'clock Wednesday night. That will be a temporary transition back to cooler temperatures for a couple of days. Wednesday high temperatures almost to 90. If 90 is your goal, once again, we'll get there. Not Thursday or Friday, but consistently Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, 3 days in a row where temperatures will be as warm as 92, with overnight lows coming back into the lower 70s.
Bring on the heat.
It will be there.
Thank you, Kevin. The 4th of July may be over, but the fireworks, of course, they're not over. They're just beginning on the hit ABC show, your favorite show, The Bachelorette.
Well, tonight, Hannah visits the hometowns of the 4 remaining men. She will get to meet all of their families and see how they live away from the Bachelorette mansion. But that's not all by a long shot.
Hannah and Luke's explosive confrontation regarding the fantasy suites could change the complexion of the season.
So let's talk about sex.
Okay.
And let's say you have had sex with one or multiple of these guys. I'd completely remove myself from this relationship.
How dare I be judged by a man? My husband would never say what you've said to me. I have had sex. And honestly, Jesus still loves me.
Alrighty then, you won't want to miss The Bachelorette starting tonight at 8, only on RTV6. I'm interested to see how that conversation goes.
We'll see what happens, right? Well, I think we just saw what happens. Good luck to that guy. Don't forget that ABC's other hit program, Shark Tank, coming right here to 80 next Tuesday. You can pitch your idea to the producers at the open casting call next Tuesday, July the 16th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We hope to see you there. Doors open at 6 a.m. We have more information on how you could apply on the RTV6 app as well as theindychannel.com. You're watching the news at 5 only on RTV6.
Let's try it. Fast foodies know the deal.
Good evening. You're watching the news at 5 on RTV6. Brand new developments in a high-profile murder case.
The man convicted of killing a nanny could be sentenced to death. We need to get right to Court TV's Julie Grant with what's happening now.
A very good day to you. I'm Julie Grant with Court TV. The defense is wrapping up their case in the penalty phase of the state of Florida versus Scott Edward Nelson. Today, they called a mental health expert to the stand. Scott Nelson also wanted to make an allocution to the court. This means his attorneys wanted him to make a statement before the judge without being sworn in as a witness and without being cross-examined. The judge denied Nelson's request. Also, Nelson says he has a list of witnesses that he would like to call to the stand for him. But when the judge asked him who these witnesses were, Nelson could not come up with any names. It has surely been a busy day so far in this courtroom. Nelson, of course, convicted of murdering beautiful Jennifer Lynn Fulford, a beloved nanny in the Winter Park, Florida area. And now Nelson could pay for his crime with his life. The state is seeking the death penalty. The defense is hoping to spare Nelson's life. We'll continue bringing you gavel-to-gavel coverage right here on Court TV Live. I'm Julie Grant. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Julie. And you can follow this case and other high-profile trials across the country 24/7 on CourtTV.com. Well, the incredible run has ended.
Man, the teenager taking over Wimbledon finally met her match. I don't really like that music because she's an amazing young woman. The dream is over for 15-year-old Coco. The teenager sensation lost to former #1 women's tennis player Simona Halep.
Goff was playing in her first Grand Slam tournament after becoming the youngest player to qualify for Wimbledon's main draw in the professional era and knocked out 5-time champion Venus Williams in the first round. Halep reached the Wimbledon quarterfinals for the 4th time.
Despite the loss, this is such a great start to Goff's career, of course. She will certainly have many more opportunities to win big tournaments. And, of course, her family is proud of her. The country's proud of her. She did so well.
She did awesome. She has a lot to be proud of.
At 15, you go. You go.
You go, girl.
Thank you for adding that part. Coming up all new on the news at 6, the auto industry employs a lot of Hoosiers, as you know, but one automaker wants to add 400 more people to the payroll, especially women. Details all new on the news at 6.
But first on the Now, Indy, students with the IU School of Medicine going to out-of-these-world lengths in an effort to better heal broken bones and do it more quickly. You're watching RTV6. We'll be right back.